Welcome, one and all, to WDW After Dark, your weekly show bringing you great Disney news for the parks, also Star Wars, Marvel, Disney food news, bringing it all together for you, the Disney fan. My name is Aljon Go, joined by Jeff Davis, Kristen Hetzel, and Eric Allen. We're going to be delivering all this great Disney headline news and later on some Disney discussion as well. But before we get started, let's go ahead and talk about our sponsors. Don't forget to pick up Kristen's new book at diningatdisney.com, the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival Guide for 2016. Check it out. Download it today in ebook form at diningatdisney.com. Also, don't forget to support our links to Amazon, our day one supporter. Amazon, we appreciate it. Every time you click on our exclusive banner at www.afterdark.com, you are able to help us out. It's like throwing a few cents into our tip jar. Every time you buy something, Amazon graciously gives us a commission for everything you buy using our Amazon banner. So please bookmark and start shopping today, supporting our show at www.afterdark.com. And now, on with the show.
WDW After Dark, now loading. WDW After Dark. WDW After Dark. Live and uncensored. Starring Jeff Davis, Aljon Go, Kristen Hetzel, and Eric Allen. Now prepare yourself for WDW After Dark.
I tell you what, man, I cannot wait to go back to Disney. I cannot wait. It's only just a few weeks away, and I can't wait to go back. And I just came from there. It's like, Jeff, as soon as you left, as soon as Kristen and I left, we were just days apart from each other, and we have so many of our Source of Radio listeners and people over there, just like, literally, we just missed them. We missed Dan Barnes. He just came back, and Dan Barnes is the host of E-Ticket Time on Source of Radio. We had a few of our listeners go, and I can't wait to go back already. Doesn't it suck?
It does. It does suck. On a daily basis, when you see all these other people posting all these wonderful pictures of food and wine and merchandise from the 45th anniversary and so many other things, you really start to get down in the dumps when you can't be at the parks when all this great stuff is happening and get to see some of your friends in the process. So
yeah, man.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Well, I tell you, we're going to be covering so much Disney park news. Kristen's got Disney food news. I've got information on Star Wars and Stan Lee. And if Eric Allen is able to join us, he will also give us the lowdown on, I guess, some Marvel news. And I can tell you this, I'm sure we're going to hit on Nick. I want to say Nick Cage instead of Luke Cage. Nick Cage, who played a very interesting Marvel character that is being rebooted in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider. So that was a tie-in there, folks. You see, I meant to do that. My name is Aljon Go, lifelong Disney fan, love Marvel, love Star Wars, along with our fellow Disney fans and reporters, our correspondents, if you will, Miss Kristen Hetzel from diningatdisney.com. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I am fine. How are you?
Not too shabby. We're doing really well. Kristen, your new book is out. People are actually very positive about what's going on for the Food and Wine Festival this year. What is your take on the festival? If you haven't listened to our shows in the past, what is your take on this year? Everything good?
I am very excited about this year because nearly half of the menu items are new, and a lot of them are very, very tasty. So I'm very excited about this year's festival.
That's awesome. Why don't you tell people how they can get your book, your brand new guide?
Well, they can go to diningatdisney.com, and on the right side of the website, you'll see a little book. You can just click on that and go shop it in the Dining at Disney store.
That's right. And I tell you, we're getting ready to launch our new podcast. Well, you have a new episode of your podcast, Dining at Disney, that we did, I guess, highlighting some things from the Waldorf Astoria. So that should be really nice. So we're going to be launching that here in the next 24 hours or so when you hear this. Also joined regular crew member here on the show. He is a lover of dogs because it is National Love Your Pet Day, or what is it? It's also National Taco Day as we record this, but is it National Pet Day, right? Or Animal Pet Day, something like that? Jeff, you know what I'm talking about? Help the brother out.
I don't know if that one is today or not. I do know it is Taco Day, so
everybody
all about that.
Everybody has their own days now. The news monster Jeff Disney Davis. There it is. It is World Animal Day. According to Facebook. Okay. World Animal Day, and apparently I can add some animal emojis to my post on Facebook. So
yeah, you need to throw a Muppet in there or two.
So. A little Muppet, a fake animal, and puppet. At least it's not like a monkey throwing poop, because I'm sure they have that as well. Now, Jeff, you've got a lot of things going on. You want to give people a little preview of what we have coming up, and maybe what you have coming up for DW60 on Sorcerer Radio.
Well, on DW60 this week, we have the week off because the boss is out of town, so I'm taking the vacation as well from the show. But next week, we will have some brand new news stories of stuff going on at the Walt Disney World Resort. As far as my vlog over on YouTube, got a Q&A vlog coming up this week. Some Q&A with the subscribers, asking some, just totally off-the-wall random questions. And then coming up this weekend down here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, we have Cruising the Coast. It is an annual event where if you have a vehicle that looks good, sounds good, runs good, or anything else, people from all over the country are showing up down here. About thousands of vehicles going to be down here, so I'm going to be vlogging that over on YouTube, so you can check that out.
So you're big into cars, Jeff?
I don't ask me to fix a car. I don't know the first thing about that. I'll tell you that right now. I will never claim to be a mechanic, but I do love vehicles, especially during this time of the year. You've got every of vehicles coming for Cruising the Coast down here. Although I've seen them go back as far as the 40s and the 30s with the vehicles that show up for this thing. And then you've got your cars of today. I've seen Lamborghinis, Ferraris, just so much. Ford, the GT500, I think it's called. So many more. And people show up down here in their mobile homes and and they stay all week, and they sit out in front of their mobile home and just watch cars go up and down Highway 90 here. And lots of great events, burnouts, cars that are flamethrowing contests going on, all kinds of fun stuff. If you ever have the opportunity, I really, really encourage people to come down here for Cruising the Coast because it is a fantastic event.
Outstanding. I like cars as well. I know Kristen is a huge car fan, so you're not going to see anything. We're not going to say anything disparaging about cars because we love cars, much like the Ghost Rider, which we can talk about here in just a little bit as I'll be delivering some Marvel news. Yeah. Eric Allen is unfortunately out for tonight, but I just got that info, so I will be reading some Marvel headlines as we get into our famed segment, Disney Headline.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently holding for further traffic clearance.
Check out Kristen's new website, magicaljourneysvacations.com, for all your vacation needs. Disney, Universal, cruise lines, and more.
Thank you for traveling with us.
magicaljourneysvacations.com. Have her book your magical vacation today.
Got your headlines. WDW After Dark presents Disney Headline News. Mr. Jeff Davis, what's on your plate for tonight?
Well, there's a few things on the plate as far as the portions that we're going to have this evening, and quite a few things going on at Walt Disney World since we've been gone for a little bit. First thing I want to talk about is characters. Now, normally you would see all of your favorite Disney characters in one of the 4 Walt Disney World theme parks and the water parks as well. Where you would not expect to see Disney characters at would be the Disney Springs area, and you could soon be meeting your favorite Disney character outside of the parks there at Disney Springs. If you go to the area that used to be the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique over at the World of Disney store there in Disney Springs, they are looking to area into a character meet and greet. So we don't know specifics as whether it's going to be Mickey or Minnie or Donald or who it's going to be. But from what sources are telling us, there is going to be a character meet and greet experience. The concept is expected to be tested in the near future to see if a meet and greet in that location is a feasible place to do it and operate it at the same time. Now, we all know the World of Disney store at Disney Springs, always jam-packed to the walls, full of people doing some shopping for their favorite theme park merchandise and everything else. So throwing something like that into the mix could be a disaster. It could be fantastic. Just depends on how they do it. But in the past, all you've been able to do in Disney Springs when it comes to characters is during the holiday period, you would get to see Santa and you would get to see Santa Goofy as well. There was no queue area to line up in to go see him or anything else. What they would simply do is give you a pager, and they would page you when your time came up to go see Santa and Goofy as well. So Disney hasn't made any type of an initial announcement on this to confirm the project, so we treat it as usual speculation until they actually decide to tell us that it is going to happen. But that space that used to be the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique is vacant right now, and that's what they're looking to do with that. So could be exciting. You may not have to pay $100 to go see Mickey. You can just head over to Disney Springs, get yourself a parking spot in one of the two new garages. And speaking of garages, they are adding a third garage at Disney Springs, which is supposed to open in 2019. So another 3 years before we will see the end of construction in the parking lot there at the Disney Springs area. It has been like that for how many years now that they've been working on parking lots? I mean, what, 3 or 4? I don't know. I'm losing count.
Like
it does seem like forever. I don't remember what it used to look like before the garages were around, but you know, they've done a lot of great things at Disney Springs. It has become the premier spot to go shop, dine, so much more, just spend time with the family. Everybody seems to love Disney Springs. I still hate the name, but what they've done with the area is fantastic. I will say that. All right. Definitely. Moving on to what's happening in the parks. In case you're wondering, and I know so many of you out there absolutely love this attraction. It's number one in your heart. It's near and dear to your family, everything else. But I've got some bad news for you. It seems that Stitch's Great Escape is now going into seasonal operation as of this week. So it's only going to be open at certain times. I know, it's just so bad. Let's see. Thanksgiving holiday week, it will be open. And then that Saturday after, it will close again. It will open back up during the peak portion of the holiday season, which would be the week of Christmas, and then it will shut down again. When it opens back up after that, ladies and gentlemen, I just don't know. But here's the thing. Here's what makes it interesting. Disney obviously sees that this attraction is not popular enough with everybody to keep it open, keep things running all the time the way they do. So they're making some interesting decisions when it comes to this attraction. But what they need to look at, and I think they will eventually, is the bigger picture here. Do we need to keep this attraction around? Do we need to change it to something else? Do we need to reimagine what that area of Tomorrowland needs to be and what it could be in the future? So, see Kristen already saying, yes, you need to do something with it. It needs to change. I think we got, let's see, about a month or so ago here on After Dark, we talked about a Wreck-It Ralph VR attraction that was being rumored to be put into that area. Still no confirmation on that. We don't know if it's actually going to happen or not. But a lot of people like the idea of it. And, well, something's got to be better than Stitch. There are some people out there that love Stitch's Great Escape, and that's one thing that they do every trip to Walt Disney World. But for the majority, for the level 5 fans out there that are Disney, fanatics and everything else, they just don't love the attraction. It's just not doing it for them. So we'll wait and see what happens. But a little bit more serious news, and this is no joke, people. When it comes to Hurricane Matthew, you've been watching local news. If you've been watching national news or the anything else, you know about Hurricane Matthew. And right now it's over there next to Cuba, and it just went through Haiti, and it's headed towards the Bahamas. Right now, as of today, still a Category 4 hurricane, 146-mile-an-hour sustained winds. This thing is an absolute beast. And the thing is that this is heading for the east coast of Florida, which means the Walt Disney World Resort will be impacted by the storm as of today. As of October the 4th, it is going to be impacted. And you're still looking at hurricane force winds, probably from 120 to 130 right there on the coast. Further inland, though, you're looking at tropical storm force winds, which is probably going to be about 60 to 70 miles an hour. So if you're going to be at Walt Disney World, you need to prepare. Safety is paramount in this situation. So what you need to do is listen to Disney cast members, and they will direct you in the proper direction when it comes to a storm like this coming into the area. We don't know of any park hour changes. We don't know of any park closings at this time. They have not announced anything, so we just don't know. So be vigilant when you head to Orlando, the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday time frame. If you're listening to this after that, well, then you're okay. The storm has already gone through, and hopefully it has moved on. It hasn't slowed down or intensified or anything else. But according to the National Hurricane Center, hurricane conditions possible within the direction of Florida by late Thursday, with tropical storm force conditions possible by Thursday, Friday night. An hour in a northerly direction. So those of you, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, parts of Pennsylvania, and then also New Jersey, New York, you need to be watching this storm. You need to be prepared. Get what you need, hunker down, and get through it. And hopefully everybody will be okay. One more thing I'm going to mention. I think that the Muppets, to me, at Walt Disney World are somewhat of an overlooked bunch of characters. And Muppet Vision 3D sometimes does not get the attention that it probably deserves, because the Muppets are timeless, classic characters and will always have a spot in my heart when being at the Walt Disney World Resort, because I absolutely love them. Well, that changed a little bit. You may remember, gosh, how long has it been? Since 2007, I think, the last time we saw this at the Walt Disney World Resort. The Muppet Mobile Lab has returned to Epcot, and this is a fantastic little attraction that Disney Imagineers came up with back in 2007. It replaced what was that walking dinosaur's name, Aljon? Do you remember?
Oh God. Yes, I remember. I remember the walking dinosaur, part of the Living Character Initiative.
Yeah, Lucky the Dinosaur. Lucky the Dinosaur is who it was. Yeah.
Yes.
And so when that went away, the Muppet Mobile Lab is what replaced it. And it made a very short appearance there at the Walt Disney World Resort in Epcot. And since then, what has happened is there it is right there. The Muppet Mobile Lab has literally made a trip around the world. It has been to Hong Kong. It has been to Paris. It has been to Anaheim. So many other locations. It has been absolutely, everybody loves this thing. And it's such a fantastic show. Very interactive as well. And you once again have an opportunity to see that at Epcot. Now, the location where it comes out at is just behind Spaceship Earth and just in front of the tip board and wait time board before you get into the actual Future World fountain area is where that's going to come out at. And as you can see by the pictures, this is a very unique machine, and the animatronics, very, very cool to see. Beaker is funny as always.
I love it.
I do. I've never seen it before, so I'm really excited to finally get to see the Muppet Mobile Lab. As far as how long it's going to be there, I couldn't tell you because I don't know. I'm hoping it's going to be there long enough for a lot of people to see. But it's very exciting to see that they are bringing it back, and hopefully it will stay for a long time. It's something I think Epcot kind of needs, an extra push, to bring you over when Food and Wine isn't going on, or some other type of flower event or whatever. So,
well, isn't it the best? One of the coolest thing, just to have random Disney characters just show up and ride around in a vehicle that's autonomous, and who doesn't love Beaker and Bunsen? I mean, who doesn't like that duo? I mean, seriously, they're the best. They're cute. That little. It looks like literally they took that pigs in space, vehicle and decided to say,
it does look like that a little bit.
We could repurpose this, it's like so.
It good. Really is. It's what it reminds me of is a Segway. It's a Segway type of platform.
I
it
love it.
balances itself, while they're on it, and just rolls right around and interacts with the guests
Oh, so
who are
funny.
watching it there at Epcot. Is so neat and so cool. So if you're at Epcot and there's a chance you might get to see it, stick around in that area. There's a good chance you're going to. So
Mm.
those are just a few of the stories that are going on at Walt Disney World. I'm not going to mention some of the more sadder ones from about a week or so ago. We had a couple of tragedies at Walt Disney World. Very, very sad to hear about. One family is okay, the other was not. But
Oh,
going to end with good stuff when it comes to the Muppet Mobile Lab. And
yes.
if I could possibly get, and this is just a wish, I don't know if you guys would agree with me, but there's a certain store in New York where you can make your own Muppet.
Yes.
And you know what? I would love to have something like that at Walt Disney World. I think it would be a huge, huge draw and so much fun.
They've been meaning to do that now for years, and it got really, really hot, and then they backed off just once again, for that reason. It's like the Muppets, they like the TV show. It had so much promise, and they were getting on the right foot, but you only had that one chance to make a first impression, and they lost a lot of people, with that first couple episodes, and it's a shame. It really is.
I think a lot of people were probably hoping it was, back to the original of what the Muppets used to be so many years ago. And I think a lot of people were probably disappointed because it wasn't like that. Special guests, interactions, songs, and so much more. The way the Muppets did it back then, and not a reality TV show. So it's unfortunate, but I still enjoyed it. I watched every episode. It was fantastic.
It was fantastic. I enjoyed it too. Speaking of the Muppets, I'm trying to get some information and some photos regarding the upcoming Muppets attraction that is actually launched now over there at Liberty Square. But before we do that, thank you for those headlines, Jeff. I appreciate it. Let's go ahead and talk to Kristen, and let's get some headlines from her. Kristen, what's up?
Well, we just celebrated the 45th anniversary of Magic Kingdom. That was on the 1st. So that's Saturday. Starting on the 2nd, Disney is doing something very special for annual pass holders. They have decided that anybody between now and January 3rd, 2017, who purchases or renews an annual pass will receive 13 months for the price of 12.
Wow. Okay.
On top of that, there's also discounts. There's going to be 20% off purchases at Disney-owned and operated merchandise locations. On top of that, 20% off food and non-alcoholic beverages at 45 participating restaurants. Some of these included are Pecos Bills, Rose and Crown, Beer Garden, Liberty Inn, Hollywood Brown Derby. That's a nice discount there. Not my favorite, ABC Commissary, Tiffin's Flame Tree Barbecue, Jico, Boardwalk Bakery, The Wave, Trails End, Grand Floridian Cafe, Kona, Spirit of Aloha Dinner Show is included in that. Artist Point.
That's pretty good.
Deluxe Burger. I mean, there's a lot of restaurants included in that. So I'm looking forward to being able to get that discount.
Can I step on my soapbox for a second? Just for a moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was anybody else disappointed that Disney only did what they did for the 45th anniversary? Did it seem just kind of a little too much compared to what we've been used to in the past when it was a year-long celebration type thing?
I think it was appropriate for me. I think it was appropriate for 45th anniversary is not a huge milestone in comparison to a round zero decade like the 50th that's coming up. So,
well, I mean, they didn't even do anything for the 40th. They did basically the same thing. They had a little ceremony there at the castle. They had a few pieces of merchandise, and it came and went without a blink of an eye.
It's been several, maybe since the 30th, that Disney has done anything big. I mean, I remember when I went and it was the 25th anniversary, and That was my first time going, and they had like the shopping bags had 25th anniversary on them. I mean, everything you could get merchandise that said that. Disney just hasn't done that in probably 15 years.
Yeah, you know how you
well they've done stuff like that for Disneyland. I mean, I understand it was the 60th, but they did something for 55. They did something for 50, and so forth and so forth. I feel child here, that we're not getting a little bit of the money that's in the corporation for a decent celebration for such for the number one destination for vacationing in the entire world. I mean, it's just kind of
you would have thought they would have at least had kind of like a Christmas special kind of thing. That's what I suggested all the time. I mean, for me, you run so many networks and you're looking for programming. You could have easily had Andrea Brown or somebody come out and do something and say, hey, it's a 45th anniversary of the Magic Kingdom and Walt Disney World, and let's go ahead and celebrate with this special and do this taping and do that. Instead, you know what we get? We get 15 free wallpapers of the 45th anniversary on the Disney Parks blog, Right.
It would have even been, even though the last attempt at their webcast to show, the departing Main Street Electrical Parade was as terrible as it was, they didn't even bother to do that for the 45th anniversary of the entire park.
Yeah. They did.
Come on.
Well, they did happen to post video and things, but they didn't do a live stream. I think that would have been appropriate. I think they could have done a lot more, but who knows? I mean, I think it's all about the numbers game and return on investment, those corporate terms of ROI all the time. And I hate to say it,
I think there's a couple reasons why they didn't.
Okay, Kristen,
first of all, it's not a major milestone.
Mm-hmm.
We're 5 years from a major milestone.
That's right.
They are adding Star Wars Land. They're expanding to have Toy Story Land. Mm-hmm. There's going to be Avatar.
Right.
I think Disney feels it's putting so much money into stuff at Disney World that it doesn't want to put the money into celebrating its anniversary.
Well, I'll go a step further. I think it's not even about that. I think it's about their land is not a completed vision at this point. They've made so many announcements, and to simply say that we're working on these things is not enough to warrant, a huge TV special or to make a big deal out of it. But by the time the 50th rolls around, you better damn believe it's all going to be done. So
I really do. Yeah, I hope that the money is really being stockpiled for the 50th anniversary, because if that's the case with and I'm a firm believer that Star Wars and Toy Story, those two are being saved 50th anniversary. I think that's when they will open them up for that big, and it better be a year-long celebration. So I think that's where the money might be. Brand new parades, new fireworks. There's no telling what they might have in store, but I was still expecting a little bit more for the 45th.
Yeah, my speculation is that when the 50th comes around, we're going to have a new nighttime show at Epcot. I know this is speculation. This could be something we could talk about in our topic show, which it's too late now. Let's just go ahead and talk about it. No, we'll probably have something new to replace Reflections of Earth. We'll probably have a brand new nighttime spectacular at the Magic Kingdom. And, we'll have all that cool stuff. And we'll have, we'll actually have the Rivers of Light actually work. So,
but to top it all off, like Kristen said, having these new discounts for annual pass holders, getting 13 months for the price of 12, I guess I can be happy with that. So Kristen, I'm glad you mentioned that for everybody. That's actually really good deals. So
I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the extra. I'm going to take the 20% annual pass holder discount. Finally, I mean, I'll take it. And that just means that maybe the sales are soft, and that, they realize that maybe they're pricing some people out. We talk about that all the time. It's gotten to that point where maybe they're seeing softer attendance than what they've had over years. So I'm okay with that. Let's give us more value for that, So thank you.
Totally true. I agree with you.
Kristen, what else did we have there on tap?
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. Okay, well, very good. We got a few things to note. Over there at the Disneyland Resort, have you seen these pictures? Because right now the collectors, Isn't it cool? All right. So the fortress transformation is underway. Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout is the layover, the remodeling, if you will, is taking place at the Disneyland Resort. And take a look at these pictures. How cool is that? Oops, I'm sorry. It went backwards. I should have done that. Oh, now I'm totally lost it.
Oh, man.
Anyway, there you go. There you go. There we go. Now we're back. But take a look at some of these really cool pictures. We're going to open a new image in a new tab here because this one, it should be a good one. But
Aljon, you have so many tabs open. All you can really see is like the first letter now.
Oh, sorry. Can you see that, everybody? Sorry about that.
UALIINTITITIST.
That's what happens when you have all the news stories in front of you. Because,
right.
They did do this little video, so you can check it out. Of course, the model picture here was created by Walt Disney Imagineering to guide the transformation currently taking place for the exterior of the attraction. Every shade and every detail you see here is going to be replicated in full size as designers and builders and artists are working to bring the collector's realm to life at Disneyland Resort. And this video, described by Joe Rohde, so you get to check out Joe Rohde and stare at his earrings, is designed to be intimidating and imposing, but also a shimmering and regal display of the collector's most prized possession. So what do you guys think of this as we move into some Marvel news? Looks pretty cool, huh?
I do. I like the thought of going to something like this and the way it looks and everything. I guess I'm not in agreement with a lot of the people who are giving Disney a lot of backlash for doing this construction, yet still having the attraction open and running as the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. There are a lot of people out there very upset about this, simply because it's still open, and a lot of people still really upset that the Tower of Terror is being just redone completely. They want to keep that. They don't want to lose it.
Well, it gives them a reason to go to Disney World.
It does. It does give them a reason to do that. Yeah, that's a fact. But I think they're forgetting it's not just the aspect of, yes, another elevator type ride, it's still going to be the same thing. But think of all the different props that you're going to have in this queue line when it comes to this attraction. All of the things over the years that I watched the video that went along with this, Aljon, talking about all the collectibles that the collector has. You're going to see that inside the attraction there in the queue. So many fantastic things that you've seen from Guardians of the Galaxy be right there, literally. We're right behind some glass or something. And
okay, so
it's going to be a fantastic attraction. It's going to be awesome.
So
I can't wait.
Here's my thought of that. And yes, I agree. That now, would you, as a Disney Parks goer, annual pass holder, someone that bought a ticket, regardless, wouldn't you rather have the attraction open to experience it in this kind of weird form than not ride it at all?
I would
ride it like this because guess what? I would much rather ride the attraction whenever I want than to have it shut down for a lengthy refurbishment. Let's just squeeze as much enjoyment out of this area as we can before they actually have to shut it down to work on the interior or the ride vehicle, the conveyance, whatever you want to call it. So I'm okay with that. But this is what I'm looking forward to. So the collector, as you know, you may have seen from Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'll tell you this right now: if you haven't seen Marvel's Guardians, you need to see it because it is one of the most enjoyable movies of that genre, that superhero genre, of all time. It's that enjoyable. It's so much fun, and you don't even need to know who these people are. You just need to watch it. So, can you imagine Howard the Duck being an Easter egg in that attraction? Howard the Duck.
Yes, I can.
A little animatronic duck just tucked in the background, popping his head out, going, "What's going on over here?" And then he's not going to smoke his cigar like he normally does, but he's just going to have his little hat and it's going to pop up. And wouldn't it be hilarious if like Donald Duck was standing to him? That would be hilarious. We have the two ducks.
It would.
It's the only place where both of those characters could coexist at the same time.
That's right. Yeah. That's a fact.
No kidding.
No doubt about it.
That would be so good. But I mean, one can only hope. One can only dream, right? But I think it does look very good. And I look forward to checking out Guardians of the Galaxy Breakout as it debuts next year. So speaking of Marvel news, we do have a couple other things to talk about. So let's take a look at this. According to comicbook.com, for those of you interested in the Marvel Netflix series and The Walking Dead, John Bernthal, who played Shane in The Walking Dead, is, of course, the Punisher in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a Netflix series. You can find him on Daredevil season 2, which he did awesome on. Kristen's not a fan of John Bernthal because he doesn't like Shane from The Walking Dead.
Yes.
But I can tell you that this is the first release photo of him shooting his original series. Jeff, you're going to be excited about this because the Punisher is coming to Netflix. And Punisher, I know, Jeff, is one of your favorite characters. Frank Castle, being an ex-military man, his family gets completely murdered and he goes out for revenge. He's basically Batman with a whole lot of guns, and he's out there to kick some serious ass. And he's willing to punish and go above the law to make sure his ends justify the means and justice is served in a very bloody platter. So if you're all about that, I'm all about John Bernthal. I'm all about the Punisher on Netflix as well. I think this is going to be another series that breaks the internet. That's going to be coming to us soon on Netflix. However, let's talk about the current show that's breaking the internet. Let's talk about Luke Cage. Luke Cage was such a big hit, and here he is. Luke Cage was such a big hit on Netflix, it caused Netflix to crash. And this was according to interview.com, and Hillary Jones had mentioned this, that it caused Netflix to crash, and that was crazy. It made a whole lot of people crazy, and this is how good this show is. So here's my quick review. Jeff, you've only seen, Kristen hasn't seen it because she's been busy, but I binged the entire series over the weekend, and I can tell you this, it's the best one yet. It's really that good. And there's a reason why it broke the internet and crashed Netflix. Netflix crashed one time before, and that was when Daredevil was originally released. And this is how good that series was. Now, Kristen had seen some Daredevil, had seen some Jessica Jones, and she likes Jessica Jones. I like Kristen Ritter a lot. Jeff, you've only saw one episode, and you told me what about Luke Cage?
I told you that, and this is exactly what I told Aljon. I want the writers for Marvel working with Netflix when it comes to Marvel shows on Netflix to start taking their antidepressant medication so that they can finally put a little more zip and zazz into these episodes instead of me sitting on the couch wanting to bawl my eyes out from boredom and keep from falling asleep. Because that's when it started with Daredevil. Not as bad. It got worse in Jessica Jones. And then I do this first episode of Luke Cage, and I'm like, this is just more of the same crap. I don't even know if I want to watch episode 2 or not.
Yeah. Okay.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I told you, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
The action.
Thank you. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
No requirement to think at all.
Well, and you see, this is the difference. I feel that the Netflix series do establish a darker tone for the Marvel universe. Hell's Kitchen, Spanish African Harlem. You've got these different things that are working on, downtown, midtown, and things of that nature. These different segments of New York City are represented in these various shows. It is much darker. It doesn't have the type of color, I will say, in terms of levity that some of the other Avengers films have. However, the DC universe shows that you like, Jeff, and I like them too. I like The Flash and I like Arrow. I like The Flash and Supergirl the most, but they are very light. They're a lot lighter than the DC movies. The DC movies are very dark by comparison. Yeah. So I think Marvel's taking a different approach. They have a little bit more levity and something that the entire spectrum. It's definitely more wide action oriented, has a lot more humor, and appeals to a broader audience than the Netflix shows, where the Netflix shows, I think, are really geared for hardcore Marvel fans that want something where people are cussing and having sex. And this is definitely not the show that you need to have your kids watch. Okay, folks. And that's the same with Marvel.
They are more of psychological thrillers.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll agree with that. There's
psychological. Yeah. It's depressing me as I watch. I understand Hell's Kitchen is probably not the nicest place in the world to go to, and a lot of people are very unhappy with their lives, but I don't want to have to be unhappy when I watch it. Well, that's why I enjoy Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. so much.
Yeah, it's
because they mix it up so well. They have those serious conversations, but then you've got Coulson who can crack the little jokes. You've got May who's screwed up right now when it comes to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then you've got the rogue agent with Sky. Yeah, I said it. Sky out there trying to, get things right in her life. And that's why I continuously, religiously watch that show, because the mixture is so good.
Yeah, I think it speaks to different people, and I'll say this: I think that if I was hooked from the very first episode, so I think, but something that you Jeff and Kristen and myself can all agree on is we do love The Walking Dead,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that and for someone like you who does like a lot of action and some levity, that series is pretty dark and deep. So what is it about The Walking Dead that you like that you don't necessarily see in the Marvel shows, in the next Netflix shows?
With The Walking Dead,
invested in the characters? Did it hook you?
It did. The investment of the characters, but it's a story of family. It's a story of survival. It's a story of life decisions that they make on every single step that they take. You're on the edge of your seat every single step portion of that movie. Every minute that goes by, you don't know what's going to happen next. That is the appeal when it comes to The Walking Dead. With these others, the dialogue runs forever, it seems, in these Marvel Netflix shows. And then you get the last 7 minutes of the episode where the abilities come out and they are who they are in the comics, and that's all you get. That's all. The rest of the time, take a nap. You can catch all you need to with the last 7 minutes of the show and move on to the next episode. That's fine.
Okay, so then I have a question. If you're saying it's boring, did you watch what is it, Batman versus Superman or whatever it's called?
Yes.
Yes.
He watched Batman.
Okay. How did you make it through that movie? I could not watch it. I sat on a plane. After 20 minutes, I went, oh my God, I am bored out of my mind. This is the word. Like, no, I'm not wasting another second watching this, and decided to switch it to watch Jungle Book.
Okay, I think the reason why I made it through that movie is one, I grew up on Superman and Batman. That's who my characters were, my superheroes growing up. So that was the first reason. I do agree there was too much yabber, blah, 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 or whatever else you want to call it throughout that movie. Way too much. People wanted to see Batman versus Superman. They got about 25 minutes of it, and it was great. It was really good. But a lot of the other time, it was just random conversation, and it made the movie drag out really badly. So what do I do now that I have the Blu-ray and digital, on every device that I own? I skip through all the crap that I don't want to listen to, and I watch the good parts. If I'm doing that with a Netflix Marvel show, I've only got about 6 or 7 minutes to do it. Yeah, when it comes to abilities,
Well, I tell you what, the show did hook me, and I did enjoy the series overall. Are there some lulls? There are, I think, because the series does have the luxury of a 13 episode arc in order to tell stories, but it's very surprising, and I really enjoyed it. And Jeff, I will say that if you watch the second and make it to the third episode, I think you're going to find that this is extremely violent, that there are abilities thrown throughout. And I think that you'll like the way the story is designed with a good guy versus a bad guy, and that it's very clear, very definitive, and there are a lot of twists and turns. I think Kristen will enjoy it. I think, and I'd be curious to see if you do give it a chance for the second or third episode to come back and let me know what you think. And if it still is not up to your par, because there are some huge action scenes in every episode from there on out, because the first part about this, without giving a spoiler away, is that Luke is running away from the call to action, which is very much the hero's journey, like Luke Skywalker.
I got that feeling.
Right. right? That Luke Skywalker is not, he's a reluctant hero, but then he gets, then he has something happens and he has nothing left to lose. So he's going to go on this hero's journey and say, you know what? I'm down. And it has to take place. So you know where I'm going with this, so you have to watch it.
I do know where you're going with this, and I will say, on the level of graphic intensity, even in the first episode, you may not see it, but you do realize it is happening, and you do hear it, and you probably know what portion of that first episode that I'm talking about specifically.
Yep,
cringed and went, "Oh crap, are you serious?" Wow,
there are some moments.
Man.
There are some definite moments for sure.
Yeah. So it's not that I'm just going to stop on the first one, but I'm not going to binge watch this thing. It's going to be one of those I keep on the back burner if I don't have anything else to watch. So eventually, maybe by January, maybe I'll have it done. I don't know. So
I'll be honest,
we'll see.
the second season of Daredevil was difficult to move through. It was difficult because it was spread out, and there was a couple other subplots that kind of, it was difficult to work in, the Punisher and you had this and that going on, and Elektra, and it was just kind of a little,
that didn't mix very well. That didn't mix very well.
It was a little bit of a hot mess in the middle, but it did work out in the end. And I think they're just trying to establish the Punisher as part of that. So they inserted it. It just kind of was disjuncted a little bit. So that was a little bit of a turnoff. Wasn't as good as the first season. Jessica Jones, man, I just ate that up. I mean, that was just, for me, it was great. And I know that Kristen enjoyed some of the
I still have not finished the first episode, the first season of Jessica Jones.
I tell you what, just skip all the way the last 2 episodes. If you watch the last 2 episodes, you're going to freak the hell out. Just do it.
Okay. All right. I will give you that then. I can do that.
Okay. All right, just watch the last 2. You won't even need to worry about the rest of the series. Just watch the last 2 episodes, and you'll be like, "Wow, maybe I do need to go back and take a look at it." Because I'll be honest, the last 2 episodes will blow your mind. It blew Kristen's mind. She didn't even watch like maybe 3 or 4 episodes, and then she watched the last 2, and she was like, "Oh my god, this is crazy." Speaking about Marvel, we're going to wrap some things up here momentarily. Stan Lee has been on the road. Doing the Comic-Con circuit for many, many decades now. This is going to be his last year, folks. Kristen, how old did you say Stan Lee was?
He's 93, and he will be 94 at the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't know if I brought this up before, but there is the Generalissimo right here. And by the way, he does make a cameo in Luke Cage, but there he is, the Generalissimo himself. His final appearance at the Chicago Comic-Con, the Midwest Comic-Con, April 21st and 23rd through 23rd, 2017 at McCormick Place in Chicago. He's not going to be doing Comic-Cons very much longer, so you only have a few times to see him before he decides to, call it a day. And I was lucky enough to see him last year, and I knew that this was his last. I think I told Kristen I'm freaking out because someone said that Stan Lee's going to stop doing Comic-Cons. You remember that, Kristen? I said, I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. In fact, there was a big rumor of his death that circulated last year. I don't know if you saw that, Jeff, but I freaked out when I saw it. I'm like, or earlier this year, I said, oh my God, is Stan Lee dead? Is Stan Lee dead? And of course, it was a big hoax. But it freaks me out. Because much like George Lucas, much like Walt Disney, John Lasseter, those kind of integral people in our lives and our fandom, you're not going to see those people. Those people are not going to be around forever. How many times have we said we wanted to go back in time and meet, Jim Henson or Walt Disney? So to have met Stan Lee and shake his hand and tell him that he was a huge influence on my life was a great thing. And even though it was one of those kind of, backstage autograph sessions, you still got to meet the man. And that was something that I'll never forget. It was very cool. Or like Kristen and myself being at the Tiki Room over there in Disneyland and sitting right next to George Lucas while he was singing the Tiki Room song. I mean, those things are just, those are things that you're going to keep with you for the rest of your life. So if you do get an opportunity to see Stan Lee at a Comic-Con near you, whether he comes to Biloxi, Jeff, or wherever he goes close by, I suggest you go out there. Have you met Stan Lee before?
I have met Stan Lee. I did not get to see him in Comic-Con itself. He was there in New Orleans for the annual Comic-Con that we have. But I did get to meet him outside of the building.
That's
He was
right.
waiting for his ride.
That's right.
And my friend Rob and I were heading back to our vehicle. Rob was changing out of his white Power Ranger costume that he had on that day.
Nice.
And just standing out there, to see just one guy standing next to him. There he was, Stan Lee, just sitting there, looking at his phone, talking with people. Got to talk with him for a couple of minutes. It was awesome. It was just so cool to get to meet him. I had also read an article, I think it was about a week or so ago, that he just recently wrapped up all of the future scenes that he's going to be doing in upcoming Marvel films and cartoons and everything else. They do them all at once so that he does not have to continuously keep going back. So that to me is another sign that, that he may be kind of winding down a little bit.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that is something that did happen. And it's Stan's health is in decline, folks. And it's hard for him to move around. It's hard for him to get from place to place. It's hard for him to hear and see. At 93 years young, the Generalissimo definitely is the years of working and dealing with the fans. And I say that nicely. I mean, he loves his fans. He really does. And, otherwise he wouldn't have taken the time. He would have just said, I'm not doing this. That's or true. Wouldn't have even shook your hand or acknowledge who you were. I think that's really cool. So anyway, get a chance when you have a chance, go check out the Stan the Man Lee at a Comic-Con near you this year, because it will be his last. A couple really quick Star Wars news headlines. Jeff, I know that you're a Star Wars fan, just like me, but you're also a gamer. Star Wars Battlefront's Death Star expansion came out, and if you've got a season pass, you can get it, and you'll be able to buy that content on the Xbox One. And Jeff, did you buy it yet?
I have not. I've got it. I just haven't downloaded it yet. I haven't had a chance to as of today, but that will happen this weekend, since I've got a 4-day weekend coming up. I've watched a lot of YouTube video on this new expansion for the Death Star, and it is just watching it on YouTube is almost perfect and almost exactly what you would imagine it to be in the actual Star Wars films. That's how fantastic this expansion is. And trust me when I tell you that Star Wars Battlefront needed this, because a lot of the haters out there and a lot of the people who review this video game have just been very underwhelmed so far with certain things. They were happy when it first came out, and it just became very stagnant and very cold. This new expansion that you can download re-energized your love for Star Wars Battlefront. Trust me when I tell you that. So if you're not a season pass holder, that's okay. You still can get the download individually if you want. You don't want the others that they have, that's fine. Get the Death Star. Do the trench run. Blow that sucker up, because you can do the trench run in this new expansion. It is fantastic to watch, and it's going to be even more fun to play. I can't wait.
Yeah, the expansion's only $15. So when you get it, this is the third expansion. You can go ahead and relive the trench run scene, which is great. Also, the Battlefront cap, if you've already maxed out your characters, has been raised to level 90. So you can go ahead and get all those bug fixes and get the complete patch, and then get a little bit more enjoyment out of a game that you've probably worn out by now. But having said that, I think you'll get a little bit more play from that, which is really cool. Also,
and it's not the final expansion, Aljon, just so you know.
Yeah.
They are already starting to work on the next expansions, which will include the upcoming Star Wars movie in December, Rogue One. So expect to see scenes from that coming up in Star Wars Battlefront as well, which is a lot of people will be very happy about.
Yeah, they're prime. They know that if they release the expansion now, that people will be wanting to play, and they'll be able to get more content as the Rogue One near entering the theaters. Well, speaking of Rogue One, we have a new Rogue that will be entering the realm of Star Wars Rebels. I don't know if anyone has been watching this season, but it has been excellent. Darth Maul has come back into the fold, and the Rebels are in a very precarious position, and they are welcoming this Saturday on Disney XD Wedge Antilles. You might know that name, Wedge, as he was basically one of the X-Wing pilots that had befriended Luke Skywalker, Commander Skywalker, and helped him on the Battle Hoth. Also helped him in, I guess, Lando Calrissian blow up the Death Star 2 in Return of the Jedi. So you can check out Captain, or I guess not Captain, but Wedge Antilles, and find out how he went from working from the Empire to being a good guy. So check that out on this week's episode of Star Wars Rebels. We're wrapping up our show for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Kristen, where can people find you?
All you have to do is go to diningatdisney.com. You can find Dining at Disney on pretty much anything social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. The only thing that's different is on YouTube. It's the Dining at Disney, and you can find it on iTunes as well and listen to the Dining at Disney podcast that I co-host with Bubba out in California.
Very good. Don't forget to buy your book too.
Yes. Shop the book on the website.
Yes.
And there is a special promo code for WDW After Dark listeners. You can save 20%. All you have to do is when you shop, just do it through eJunkie, and you'll save 20% there. Just enter WDWAD. That is the promo code.
I like it. I like it a lot. Jeff Davis, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Over on Twitter, you can find me in two different spots, at DW_60 and also at Jeff Davis_75. You could listen to me on Sorcerer Radio Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. Eastern Time for great Walt Disney World music and Disney headlines as far as what's happening in the parks. And if you want to see what's actually going on in my life on a week-to-week basis, you can check my vlog channel. Head over to youtube.com/DavisJR75, and you can check that out. And I want to thank the 105 subscribers that I have now. Finally passed that 100 mark a couple weeks ago. So I'm very, very appreciative to them. Thank you so much for all the love, all of the comments, the likes, and everything else, and interaction. I've loved it so far, and I'm going to keep going with it. I'm not going to stop. And you check that out as well. I appreciate it.
You're a YouTuber.
I'm a YouTuber now. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a creator. It's a different word. Yeah, I'm a creator. That's what we're called. So
yeah, I know that's
that's me.
But I'm going to call you a YouTuber. I'm a creator too, but I'm calling myself a YouTuber. Yeah.
We're all YouTubers here. Yeah.
We're all YouTubers. Come on now. Yeah, YouTuber. We're YouTuber. You're a YouTuber by watching this show. Hey, we appreciate it. And don't forget, you can check me out. Thanks, Jeff. Big thanks, though, by the way, to our podcast partners at WeBeGeeks.net. You can check out so many great podcasts, including WDW Tiki Room and highlight shows that we have, WDW After Dark, and our vault of tremendous amount of shows. We also have got the Mighty Marvel Geeks in there, as well as Dining at Disney and so many other geektacular, spectacular podcasts you can listen
Tiki
to.
Room.
In Tiki Room, yes. WeBeGeeks.net. Also, big ups to our friends there at Sorcerer Radio. All of us are DJs there at srsounds.com. Big family-friendly entertainment there at srsounds.com, and free apps for your smart device. So you can take Sorcerer Radio and listen to that Disney magic every single day, celebrating 15 years of broadcasting the magic. And we appreciate your support on that. You can check out Kristen and I's webcast, or podcast rather, www.tikiroom.com. We air that show every single Friday on Sorcerer Radio, and we have a highlight show that gets put up there as well. I think Kristen and I will be doing this show because we are taking this week off. We will be returning with some really cool podcasts in regards to our recent resort stay there at Waldorf Astoria. We've got some shows up for that, and then also the Four Seasons Orlando. So be on the lookout for that. You can also check out my site at JediMusketeer.com. Com. And we've got more unboxing videos. I've got another T-Blocks shirt unboxing, and if you love pro wrestling, check out Pro Wrestling Cast 2, because we do talk about pro wrestling every single week. And we also have unboxing of some pro wrestling t-shirts as well there at on my website at prowrestlingcast.com. So please check that out. Anyway, thank you guys and gals for tuning into the program. We love you and we miss you. Until next week, don't forget, it's better after dark. Tell a friend. Tell your buddy about this show, and leave us those 5-star reviews on iTunes, and give us the thumbs up and subscribe there on YouTube as well. For those people that do the thumbs down, for shame, we know your name.
Bad people.
Bad people. If you didn't learn, if your mother or your father didn't teach you, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say it. So don't give us a thumbs down. Otherwise, we know where you live, because I have your IP address. And on that note, we will see you next time. Have a good night.